Arjun was sitting nervously outside the interview room, holding his resume tightly in his hands. His heart was racing. He had studied well, prepared all the answers, and knew the company details by heart. But there was one thing that made him nervous: English. When his name was called, he stood up, took a deep breath, and walked in. There were 3 interviewers sitting at a long table. One of them smiled and said, "Good morning, please have a seat." Arjun smiled awkwardly and replied, "Good morning, sir," but his voice trembled. As the interview began, the first few questions were easy: his name, education, and background. But then one interviewer asked, "So, Arjun, can you tell us something about your strengths and weaknesses?" That one question froze him. His mind went blank. He tried to form a sentence, but words just wouldn't come out. He said slowly, "My strength, I am hard work, and weakness, I know good in English." The interviewers exchanged glances. They were polite, but it was clear he wasn't confident. After the 7 minutes, they said, "Okay, thank you, we'll let you know." Arjun walked out of the room with heavy steps. He knew it already. He wasn't going to get the job. That evening, sitting alone in a small room, he kept thinking about what went wrong. He realized the only thing that stopped him wasn't his knowledge or skills. It was English. He whispered to himself, "If I knew English, I could have explained everything better. They would have understood me." That night, Arjun made a promise to himself. "No matter what, I will learn English. Even if it takes months, I'll do it." He didn't have money for expensive courses. He didn't have anyone to teach him, but he had a small smartphone, YouTube, and determination. From that day, he decided to start his journey, to speak, think, and dream in English. The next morning, he woke up early, made tea, and started watching English videos. At first, he understood nothing, but instead of giving up, he repeated the sentences again and again. He began writing down small phrases like, "How are you? What do you do? Can I help you?" and practice them aloud. The first few days were tough. His tongue stumbled, his confidence shook, and sometimes he laughed at himself. But every time he felt embarrassed, he remembered that interview room, and that kept him going. One day, while practicing in front of the mirror, he looked at his reflection and said, "I don't want to feel small anymore. I will learn this language, and I will make myself proud." That was the day his real transformation began. Days turned into weeks, and Arjun's routine slowly changed. Every morning before going to work at the mobile repair shop, he spent 1 hour practicing English. He had found a YouTube channel called Learn with Emily, where the teacher explained English in simple Hindi and examples from daily life. Emily's cheerful voice always said, "Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes mean you're learning." Those words became Arjun's daily motivation. He started carrying a small notebook everywhere he went. While repairing phones or talking to customers, he secretly repeated English sentences in his head. When someone entered the shop, he would greet them softly. "Good morning, sir. How can I help you?" At first, people laughed or replied in Urdu, but he didn't care. Every attempt was practice. At night, after dinner, he watched short English conversations on YouTube. Sometimes he paused the video, repeated each sentence 5 times, and tried to copy the accent. He also started watching English movies with subtitles. His favorite became The Pursuit of Happiness, because he felt exactly like the main character, struggling but not giving up. One day, while sitting in a tea shop, he overheard 2 students speaking fluent English. He smiled and thought, "One day, I'll speak like that too." He didn't know when, but he knew it would happen. Then came a turning point. He met Ravi, a college student who often came to his shop to fix his phone charger. Ravi was friendly and spoke decent English. One day Arjun told him shyly, "Brother, can you please talk to me in English sometimes? I want to practice." Ravi laughed kindly. "Of course, bro. Let's do it." From that day, every evening after closing the shop, Ravi sat with Arjun for 20 minutes. They spoke simple sentences like, "What did you do today?" "I watched a movie." "How was your day?" At first, Arjun hesitated. His grammar was broken, but Ravi encouraged him. "Don't stop. Just speak. Fluency will come later. One evening, when Arjun made a complete sentence without mistake, Ravi clapped and said, "See, you're improving fast, my friend." That small moment gave Arjun a huge boost. He started to believe that he could actually learn this language. Every word he learned felt like a victory. He realized that English wasn't a talent. It was a skill, and skills grow with practice. After 2 months, Arjun was no longer afraid to speak. He even joined an online English speaking group where strangers practiced together. The first time he introduced himself confidently, he almost cried with joy afterward. That night, while looking at his reflection again in the mirror, he said with a smile, "Arjun, you're not the same person who failed that interview. You've changed." But deep inside, he knew his journey wasn't over yet. It had just begun. 3 months had passed since Arjun had begun his English journey. His fear was gone, replaced by a quiet confidence. But now, he wanted something more, not just to speak English, but to speak it naturally. He started searching online for how to sound fluent in English, and came across new techniques like echo method, story method, and thinking in English. These sounded interesting, so he decided to try them one by one. Every morning, he picked a 5-minute English video. He listened to each line, paused it, and echoed the same line in his own voice. For example, if the speaker said, "I'm going to market today," Arjun repeated, "I'm going to market today," mimicking tone, stress, and rhythm. At first, his pronunciation was awkward, but slowly, something changed. His tongue began to move more freely. The words didn't feel foreign anymore. He started enjoying the sound of English. It was music now, not noise. Then he tried the story method. Every night before sleeping, he created short stories in English about his day. For example, "Today I repaired 10 phones. One customer was angry, but I smiled. I told him, 'Don't worry, your phone will work again.'" He wrote these small stories in his notebook and read them aloud the next day. It felt silly at first, but he realized it was helping him think in English instead of translating from Hindi. One Sunday afternoon, Ravi visited again. Arjun showed him his notebook full of short stories. Ravi read one and said with a big smile, "Bro, this is awesome. You're writing in English now." "Yes," Arjun replied proudly. "I think in English and then write." Ravi nodded, impressed. "That's real progress, man." Thinking in English is the biggest step. Arjun also began to record himself while speaking. He listened to the recordings and noticed small pronunciation mistakes. Words like world, comfortable, and success still troubled him. So he practiced them again and again until they felt natural. One evening, while scrolling YouTube, he found a video called "Speak Like Natives with Shadowing Technique." The idea was to listen to a sentence and speak at the same time as the speaker. It was hard. At first, his voice mixed awkwardly with the speaker's, but soon it trained his mouth to move quickly and smoothly. His mother often watched him with curiosity. One day she asked, "Beta, you talk to yourself so much these days. Are you okay?" He laughed and said, "Yes, Alma, I'm just learning English." She smiled lovingly. "Then keep talking. Maybe one day you'll teach me too." By the 5th month, Arjun was a completely different person. He could hold conversations, explain his thoughts, and even joke a little in English. He started helping other learners online, sharing what had worked for him. Still, he knew one big challenge remained: to face another interview and prove to himself that he had truly mastered the language that once defeated him. By the 6th month, Arjun felt ready. His speaking had improved, but he wanted to polish his grammar and writing. Every night, he spent 30 minutes reading short English articles and rewriting them in his own words. He realized that grammar wasn't about memorizing rules. It was about using them naturally. Instead of thinking, "Is this past tense or present?" he began to feel what sounded right. To challenge himself further, Arjun joined an online conversation room where learners from different countries spoke together. The first time he entered, his heart raced. People spoke fast, confidently. But after a few minutes, he started talking too. He made small mistakes, laughed, corrected himself, and kept going. After the session, one girl from Brazil messaged, "You speak very clearly. "I like your accent." That message made Arjun's entire day. He also began practicing shadowing with English podcasts. Every morning, as he walked to work, he repeated every word the speaker said, matching their rhythm and tone. It made him sound smoother and more confident. Within weeks, his voice changed. His sentences flowed like water. For the first time, when he introduced himself to a new customer in English, they didn't switch to Hindi. They replied in English too. That evening, Arjun stood in front of the same mirror where his journey had started. He smiled and whispered, "I'm ready now. I'm not afraid anymore." Tomorrow, he planned to apply again for the same job that once rejected him. The next morning, Arjun walked into the same office where he had once failed. This time, he wasn't nervous. When the interviewer asked, "Please introduce yourself," Arjun smiled and began fluent, confident, and calm. He spoke clearly about his work, his goals, and how learning English changed his life. The interviewer nodded, impressed. After a few days, Arjun received a call. "Congratulations, Mr. Arjun. You're selected." He couldn't believe it. Tears filled his eyes as he looked up and whispered, "Thank you, God. I did it." That evening, he thanked his mother and Ravi for believing in him. Standing on the rooftop, feeling the cool wind, he said to himself, "English didn't just give me a job. It gave me a new version of me." And from that day, Arjun promised to help others learn, just as he had once struggled to speak his first words.